Well, welcome. Nice to see you all. My name is Dan Klug, Director of HR and also with Analytics. I think you're going to like this presentation in the sense that this is something that you can use immediately. All of you have access to a lot of the dashboards we're going to show you already. So I think it's something that you'll be able to take back to your departments and really use a lot of HR and recruitment data and different things like that for your department. So I think you'll like that. How it's going to work, we'll have some slides. I wanted to show you actually the live dashboards, but going back and forth over Zoom, it slows it down a little bit. So I've actually taken pictures of the slides and things like that, just in case we weren't able to do that. So you'll be able to jump right in and see these things. This is meant to be very informal. So if you've got questions or anything like that, feel free to just raise your hand or yell out. And same thing on Zoom, our Zoom attendants. One, I'll repeat the questions if you can't hear them of those that are talking here. I'll repeat it for you all so you know what the questions are for the answers. And also, Sherry's going to be looking at the chat in case you have any chat questions also for Zoom. So we got all that. And if you can't hear me, just yell at me and we can go forward. So we'll look forward to this. Again, so yell out anytime if you've got questions. So this works very nice so far. I think I'm going to have to just kind of go over here and go like that. There we go. I'll just have to do it by hand. One of the things that used to be that oil was the most important commodity that a business could have, but as you know, now it's data, and we can really see that, especially at ASU. ASU is a monster, isn't it? Overwhelmed by data. If you were to ask to find something on our website, it might take you a while, isn't it? Because ASU is such a monster. So managing data really comes into a new realm of things. So, this is what we're going to talk about. In fact, I think I might just kind of do it this way. We're going to talk about really why HR has analytics and data. Why is this so important? Also, the dashboards and reports are going to show you where to find them and how to use them. And the metrics versus analytics. It's one thing to give you data, it's another thing to use it. So that's what we're really going to show people on really how to utilize the data that we have today and how we're actually in HR kind of a different relationship. We're basically a strategic partner with you to not only to give you this data, but to be able to use it. So those are the things we're going to look forward to on this. So our mission is, again, providing that data for you, and why we want to partner with you to make good decisions. You know how today, when you look at the world, a lot of the governments, they make decisions being very reactive. There's a situation that happens, and okay, now we've got to address it. Even our departments today at ASU are similar. Oh, we have this huge recruitment that we have to do, or now open enrollment happens. How are we going to get our people all in there and accomplish what we need to accomplish? It's a reactive type of thing. We need to be able to plan ahead to be able to make good decisions with things. And that's where we come in this, so you can make better decisions. So this is the website that you would be going to. In fact, you can go there now if you're on your computers, but it's our HR website, and it's the recruitment website. Tons of information there, especially if you're involved in recruitments or need HR data. But notice the HR reports, and no doubt you can see that very large writing from all the way back there. But that's where you're going to go to get the information. You click on that, and it takes you to a variety of different dashboards that all ASU employees have access to. So right after this, or if you've got your computers now, you are right into it. It'll ask you to use your two identification login and things like that, but you'll be able to get right into it. And all of you have access to this HR ASU department reports. There's a variety of different reports in there that you can use. Like we'll click on that, and this is what it comes up to. And no doubt you can see that from all the way back there. All those in attendance will be sending you a copy of these slides. So you'll be able to have them. But, there's recruitment reporting, there's everything that you need to know about your department, who's involved in it, and all the information there. It goes on and on to different background checks and anything that you would need for your department's roster. So excellent tool to use. Let's go into this recruitment one up in here. So we click on that. This is what it comes up with. Basically, you have these filters on the right that you can really request any information that you want. In fact, on Zoom, we have Denise D'Souza, and over here on the left is Andrew Brady, or on your right, I should say. They both have created these dashboards that we utilize to a great extent. Basically, what that is saying is, okay, over the past 5 years, what recruitments have your departments done? Whether it be faculty, whether it be staff or students, all that information is there. And it shows you, how many people applied, where they saw the job. Did they see it in some form of advertising? How many days did it take you to do all this? And even graphs it for you. And like I said, you can put any information in here. It even shows you in an aggregate form what the ethnicities were of your applicant crew. How diverse are we advertising? Notice the different things up there that you can see. Probably can't see it that well, but all the information that you need. Now, why is that important? Well, that's going to help you to make good decisions. If you notice that your applicant pools have less ethnicities, maybe it's very narrow, it really shows you that you need to advertise to really create more of a need and more of an awareness to other people. So nice the tool to use that your department can use to be more effective in your advertising and your recruitments. So we hit this up here. We got more information like in time to fill. How many days does it take? On average at ASU, how many days do you think it takes to hire somebody at ASU? What would you say? Everybody's saying, yeah, anywhere from 30 to 90 days, right? On average, it takes 42 days to hire somebody, to hire a staff person at ASU. Obviously, students takes a lot less, faculty a little bit longer. But really, this graph that we're looking at shows you maybe where we can gather and really gain some days. It's amazing when you look at the graphs like this, especially from the time it's posted to the time the person accepts the job, where departments normally waste a lot of time is they don't start to look at the applicant pool that have applied until the job closes. They've wasted 2 weeks. Really, you should start right when the job closes off of ASU. This is helping you to see that you can start calling people for interviews right then and there. It would save you 2 weeks. But how do we know that? We have the data that shows us this. And your department, you'd be able to go in and find this information out for them. It's an excellent tool. We have another tool here, which talks about advertising. So when we click on that, this shows you over the past 5 years, when we advertised our jobs, maybe for staff, where did all these applicants see the job first? That's actually asked of them when they apply to a position. And this helps you in a graph to show overall at ASU the past 5 years where they saw it. So a nice tool. Again, you'd use this. Then it also shows gender of males and females, or even those that are just undisclosed that didn't want to say. How are we performing at ASU? This shows you for your departments. And obviously, ethnicity, like we talked about. This will show you a breakdown. Now, this is students, staff, and faculty here. but it breaks it down for you to utilize for your department. So an excellent tool. And this is just one of many of the dashboards that you can utilize. So going back to this, let's see what else. This is another one, employee headcount. So what this is do is when you click on this and you utilize the filters over here, this really shows you right now how many people work at ASU. You probably, did you know that there were 30,000 paychecks over that we give people? Now these dashboards update daily, so you get real-time information for you. Now, why is this important for you? Well, notice what you can do with this. This gives you everybody at ASU, but say we wanted to go, let's look at the HR. So we go down into Tempe. Notice how it gives all the departments that are located in Tempe. Let's scroll down here and let's look at HR. So we go in, here's all the HR ones. So notice, here's all the HR departments. And it shows you these down here. But it will allow you, when you go in here and left click, you can drill down. So I'm going to my department. I click on that. And notice it, oops, I went too far. Yep, this is the one I was looking at, right? Yeah. So this will tell me everybody in a certain HR department. It shows me who their supervisors, how long they've been here at ASU, and any information that you wanted to know that you have information for. So an excellent tool to use. Questions, comments so far? Too soon after breakfast? So those are different type of reports that we have. We even have salary reports within your departments. It's an excellent tool for the department heads to see where everybody is as far as their salaries, especially with the performance appraisals coming up. Then there's other departments or other different reports that we have here that are confidential. Different HR reports that usually it's left to directors and deans, this information, because it actually has specific individuals. It breaks it down not just to numbers, but individuals within the department. So ethnicities, genders, all the EEO information. But just to show you what's available there, when we click on that, again, we have some reports in here that reports or departments can utilize to make good decisions. Think of some of them. Some of the same reports like the brass ring recruitment report that we looked at before, but now it breaks it down and shows you the individual persons that applied to the job and what the EEO information of all those individuals were, what each one's ethnicity is. Again, this would be confidential information. Also, this one that we look at is the retention report. So again, this is information. It breaks it down to in the last 5 years, what all the hires, all the terms, and all the retirements. So this is an excellent tool for departments to use. Take, for example, this is telling you all the hires at ASU for the past 5 years. How many we hired over almost 12,000 individuals. Not only shows you the average salary, but the average age of individuals. And again, these are confidential information that are usually deeds get or department heads. Also, we have the retention reports. This is showing you all the terminations in this over the past 5 years. And of course, notice the filters on the left. You can break it down by department. Excuse me, on the right, you can break it down by department. You can break it down by salary, length of service, year, or whatever. You can toggle it any which way you want. Again, giving you information to make good decisions. Why is this information important? Well, for the last 3 or 4 years, we've really been interested in retaining people, haven't we? This will let you know, well, why are we individuals? Or why aren't we? So this will help managers to make good decisions in this. Then they should also have the retirement. So all those reports. So Again, most of these ones that I've showed you, you automatically have access right now to, and that you can utilize with. So why is this important? Again, the situation that came up, a department was worried that they seemed to have a lack of diversity within their department. And that was an issue, obviously. You know, why do we not have anybody from this ethnicity, or why is everybody the same ethnicity? Some problems that could be, are we really advertising to the right groups? Are we being discriminatory? You know, what's the situation? Well, there's where data can help you. Because the department was saying, well, maybe it's because our hiring managers are being discriminatory. That was a theory they had. Or maybe our salary isn't that competitive. Is that the situation? Or is there a lack of career growth? You see, a lot of hypotheses that people have, but think about it, if they didn't have data, they could be making some seriously wrong decisions, especially if they're thinking that, oh, well, our hiring managers are being discriminatory. You know, what a false accusation that could be. So what do we need? We need data to make a good decision. So what the analytics showed is that, well, the groups are making good decisions. The individuals they had to interview, they were making hiring decisions based on qualifications, which is what we're supposed to do. So it wasn't that. When we did the research, we said that we saw that there was similar salaries to the job types all over the university and even out in the corporate world. So that wasn't the issue. And there was career growth opportunities. But this is what we found out when we looked at it. The departments weren't going to where different ethnicity groups go to. So when they started advertising in ethnicity specific organizations and media outlets, that turned around. So that was the issue, but it needed data to show that, and all these dashboards really showed it. So we have different strategies for the departments to really gather that. So it wasn't a problem for them afterwards. But again, they needed the right solution. So again, it really doesn't matter sometimes how much data you have if you don't know how to use it. And that's where HR really comes in. And we'll help you to analyze, because we're using more than just one thing, one set of data points. We're looking at a variety of different ones. So as we brought out, there are different really models and levels that departments are in. The majority are at the level one, like we talked about before, very reactive. Whenever there's a situation, okay, now we've got to have a plan to address it. And that's the majority of organizations today. But we can't do that way anymore. Level two is being proactive. Now, only 30% of organizations around the world, that's really setting up data collections and building models, but it's still a little bit reactive. But again, it's going more towards that. Here's where we are at ASU. We're strategic analysts, about 10% of organizations do that. We have dashboards and things like that that will show you what's happening, what's going to happen in the future to be able to make good decisions. Here's where we're striving to be, though. A predictive analyst. Only 4% of organizations today will do this. And it's to build strategic models of what's going to happen in the future. And you can see why that's so important. Take, for example, a lot of departments have people that are retiring. Are we already ready to be able to fill that with different people? Are we training our people for future positions? You see, that's what this model will help us to see. What is our, when we do our employee headcount, in each one of our departments within the college, how are we doing? Are we prepared having a succession plan? And meaning that when people leave, is somebody ready to take that position? Are we training our people in this regard? So here's where we can really help out. We do this training, and we can do this training for your department also. So we really gear it towards your department when we do this kind of training. So just let me know anytime you want to do this for your department. We really get into specific. In fact, we even show the dashboards as far as all this data from your department to help make good decisions with that. So, from what you've seen, are there any things that you can think of that would help your department in data that you need? Anything that comes to mind? Yes. Sure.
Oh, great. Thank you. I was wondering if you're doing anything around the issue of internal turbulence. And that is, you may see a termination in business and finance, but the individual has gone, say, to a college.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. We actually have dashboards that Andrew created just about a month ago. Transfers. It really shows where our people are going to. So, and this again is confidential data that we give to the deans or our directors and above. The reason being is because really some of the best parts of ASU is that it's a large city, isn't it? And we can go from one department to the next. Some of the worst things about ASU is our employees can go from one department to the next. So it's kind of a two-edged sword with that. But we do have that information which shows, take for example, if I have people from my department, where they go and why. So it actually works better than an exit interview in that regards. So it helps us to see, and even shows, well, did they leave for another salary and things like that. So we have dashboards exactly like that. So good question.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. Other questions that you may have? We'll get you a mic here.
Because I think they.
Thank you for this. Just to piggyback on the previous question, your response to it, could you please elaborate on how that's better than an exit interview?
Good point. There's important information that can be on an exit interview, definitely. So if we can get exit interviews, which actually we only get about 20% of people doing exit interviews. So we're losing a huge gap. So that's really the only reason. If we can get an exit interview, that's the best because we have a variety of different questions. The problems with exit interviews too is it varies from department to department. So not all are using the guidelines that are put out by HR that really kind of get into information. So the reason why it's superior right now is because it gets everybody. So that's the only reason, but good comment.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions that you had? Yes. We'll get you a microphone.
I was wondering if you guys had any reports that specifically looked at attrition rates. I know that's something I've been asked a lot. And I didn't know if there's a way you guys are currently measuring it. That way we could be more consistent with measuring that across the board.
Good. That's a good question. So we do have these, the retention dashboards that we have. Of course, we have the retirement part of that. We also have the termination. And we have reason codes which show the reason why people are leaving. The majority of it today is it used to be where of all the staff recruitments and all the staff hires, about 20% were current ASU employees going from one job to the next. That means that 80% were external people coming in or past employees. Now it's raised up a little bit. The reason being is there was a big surge with increases and things like that to where people could get increases, so that it actually jumped for a while to be almost about 30%. But to answer your question, as far as the attrition rates, we look at those reason codes. And then At times, especially if departments want us to do an audit, we'll come and do interviewing of the different department and those that are usually managers in that to find out specific reasons. Because again, if we just take data, sometimes we can come to wrong conclusions. A lot of times we have to take a variety of different sources of data and then even kind of doing some audits within the department. So, but we do that. So, good question. Because that's been some of the big issues that have really happened with HR and really ASU right now is hiring. We've seen that COVID caused a whole bunch of issues. People are really changing their views. This is none of us alive today have ever been anything that. 1919 was the Spanish flu. That's the last time anything like that happened worldwide. So people are reassessing what they want to do. You know, with childcare costs today, sometimes if couples, they may not want to have two people in the workforce anymore. Maybe they're making adjustments to how they want to do that. Some are reassessing, you know, it's been such a real shock. Do I really want to do my job anymore? Or do I want to change careers and do things? So a variety of different things with remote workforce. Sometimes people can live in small towns and remotely work in big cities. So there's a lot of things that are going on in these past 2 years that have really changed people's idea of work. First, you had a question? We'll get you a microphone. Thank you, Sherry, for we're giving Sherry a workout here.
Hi. So in one of the examples which you showed, you talked about advertising was one of the factors that impacted recruitment. So what were some of the strategies or solutions you used to overcome it?
Excellent question. From it, we've seen actually down to the individual job title, the best place to recruit. We've seen from the information that we've gotten for like management level and above, LinkedIn is the best source. The people that are hired, the majority of them are coming from LinkedIn. Or, you know, that's where we've been advertising to draw them. We have contracts with LinkedIn to do that. We found that lower level positions, well, in the past, the best way that we could do that would be to advertise in Arizona Republic in the newspaper. Well, obviously today, how many people look at newspapers? People also use their phones, don't they? So we've made sure that our jobs could be readily applied to by the phones, by online. So advertising really pinpointed different things for us. As far as the ethnicities, we actually have community partners now. What that means is whenever we post a job, we found that we automatically just send it to about 41 different specialized groups. So they can reach individuals, and sometimes it's in different countries. With our relationships with different vendors, advertising vendors, right now they also have community partners. So they get a wide scope. So in the past at ASU, while our demographic really kind of mirrored what Arizona or Phoenix Metropolitan was, now we are so much more diverse in our applicant pools that are joining us, and especially with students. So good question. Did that answer your question? Okay. We had another one.
Hi. So it seems like we have a lot of data for when they leave the jobs, are going from one department to another, or, going outside of the university. Do we have any data for employees who have retained their positions for a long time or been in their departments for a really long time, and what is keeping them there, so that we can then emulate that?
Excellent. Good question. In fact, we're getting ready to do another one, but we do employee surveys. And we have a variety of different questions that are asked, because you're exactly right. Those are the kind of questions we want to know. Not only why are people leaving, but why are people staying? On my staff, I've got 10 people on my staff, and the majority have been there 15 years or longer. And I wish it could be attributed to me, but not necessarily. But But that's a situation. Why are those people staying? And it's interesting that, take for example, my staff, there's a lot of people that are overqualified for their position in my staff. But when you talk to them, they don't want to travel anymore. You know, they don't want to have the jobs where they traveled all around. They have different interests in life. Not only that, but families or grandchildren that they want to be around. So it's not necessarily the job or that is keeping them here. It is the environment, the ASU environment, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to have tuition benefits for their children and grandchildren. So it's interesting the reasons why they're staying. But we should be addressing that I think they're going to be putting that out first of the year. That another survey. So we like to do those often to try to get that. So, other questions? I should be looking at Zoom in case anybody's got any. The Zoom people, you can just unmute yourself if you have a question. Oh, we have another question over here. We're doing pretty good on time.
Thank you. I'm just curious, does ASU have a policy regarding advertising in the job posting the degree to which a position can be remote?
Yes.
From like a competitive approach to recruitment, because I've heard, I haven't hired anyone in a while, but I've heard anecdotally from colleagues and friends over the last, couple of years that they've been surprised how few applicants they've received from a variety of positions, and there's been some discussions on, how should we be advertising that? I think maybe it's particularly challenging for a position where it wouldn't be full remote, but there might be some remote work possibility. And do you acknowledge that up front in the job posting, or is that more discussed in the interview or even during the offer?
Excellent question. As far as, because you brought out some interesting points, a couple of which I'll address on that. First, the remoteness. All job postings, and I'm speaking of staff most, should mention what the remote situation is. Some jobs that are like frontline, the people that are meeting people, sometimes that is very limited to where they don't have. At ASU right now, our policy is a couple. We have a hybrid schedule, as you've seen, which is maybe like working 4/10s or something like that, or working 2 days from home. And then the other 3 at work. So it really depends. The departments get to dictate that a lot. Now, to have full remote, it really takes an act of God. In a sense, it needs the 4 executive ASU people's approval for that. Just the reason being, a lot of times that happens with people that are doing research in different parts of the world or even different states. So that's what it is. Now that's current. One thing that I've enjoyed about ASU is they're always looking into things to change. That's where we are right now. Where we are in the future, I'm not sure. Interesting too, the disadvantage of remote work, especially full remote work, is the employee is less engaged. It's things that you get within the workplace, not only relationships, but a feeling of part of team that is hard to establish over a Zoom environment. Or obviously if you're just working from home a lot. 2, when a person's working from home, they could have 2 jobs and you would never know. So, that's a possibility with some. So it's just the engagement of that. Now, there are others at ASU that, because of medical reasons, they have a full remote schedule. So there's a variety of different things. And one of the things I appreciate about ASU is the adaptability and the willingness to change. And that's one of the reasons why I work at ASU, is it's kind of an ever evolving type of situation. It's just not, no, this is the way it is, and you got to lump it. So I went off on a big tangent there, didn't I? Sorry.
No, that's interesting. Thank you.
Other questions? Well, I appreciate your participation in this. Again, if you have any questions, we answer our emails, so and our phones. So give us a call. We'll be glad to provide any assistance for you. If your departments have a need for more data on different things, let us know. That's another thing that we want to hear from you. The reason why we have these dashboards right now that Denise and Andrew were able to create them is because we heard from you that, hey, we need this information and we'll get it. And if your department needs individual training like this on the use of reports and how to use them, I do this for individual departments, going to your department and speaking and really showing how the department is currently performing on areas where they can improve. So we'll be happy to do that. So, well, thank you.